It's the round table, my little weekly live stream, and I have a very specific topic this week. It was spurred on by a customer, but it's such a normal thing that I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to bring this to my weekly round table. And I did some research for my customer. My topic is an icky one, but it's one we all face. It's what do you do when you get a urine stain on your yarn or fiber or knitted garment out of your fancy yarn? Oh my gosh, what a dreadful thing to have happen. But it could certainly pets, babies, if it's a mammal, it goes to the bathroom. We are not going to stop knitting and making beautiful things, and occasionally the two collide, despite everyone's best efforts. I'm going to declare at the beginning, I am not like any sort of industry level expert. I just have experience. So please, somebody out there in the great wide internet, don't have some terrible thing happen to your grandmother's shawl and you wash it and then you turn around and sue me for millions of dollars because my advice didn't work. But on the other hand, how many people are like me and take raw fleeces like this from our animals that has urine on it and turn it into yarn every day of the week, from the time I open my eyes to when they're closed? I am washing fiber in one way or another, whether it's raw or in yarn or whatever. And the stuff that's raw has urine on it. So it's definitely a part of what I do every day. So I'm going to talk about this just relevant to my, on the job experience as a fiber artist. The first thing there's 2 points that I want to make at the beginning of this. From the point of view of like a non-scientific definition of what is urine, and it's a little bit different in cats, babies, dogs, but relevant to why is it hard to clean, I want to say that there are like 4 things that you're kind of working on. Urine has like little bits of oils in it from adrenal glands, and that's noticeable to the touch in cat urine. It has minerals in it, and the minerals are not clear, they're minerals with color, and those could be resulting in whatever the diet is, but also like most urine has like phosphates and potassium in it and stuff like that. It is not a neutral, it's an acid, so it's acidic, and it's actually pretty much mostly salt water. So all of those components make it hard to get it out of wool or natural fibers because they are not completely smooth, or they're not plastic where something would roll off of it. So that's the challenge for cleaning. There are 4 levels of clean that I would talk about, and I would suggest that people think about when they're dealing with the problem of something precious that's been stained with urine. And in descending order, I would call it this: totally clean, restored to its previous state. That would be, the goal. That's, like number 4. Below number 4 is, and this is where most things, we're the next goal. You can't smell it anymore, and you can't see it anymore, but your pet can. And a lot of people make the mistake between the top, goal and this next level goal. And I would say, how do you tell if something, you've cleaned it, you don't see a stain anymore, You smell it, and you can't, this actually, this is just from the room, but you smell it, like really put it up to your face and smell it, because it's been washed, and you can't smell it anymore. You absolutely can hold this out to your cat or your dog, and if they are interested in smelling it, then the urine smell is not gone, and the thing that has that stain on it is vulnerable to your cat or your dog returning to that place and urinating or scenting or spraying it again. So that's an important distinction. Top, it's really gone. Next, it's gone to you, but it's not really gone. And then this is the one where actually everybody kind of hovers in, where most things. You've made it better, but you can still smell it, you can still see the stain, and you have to make a decision about, are you going to keep this thing or not keep this thing? And then the lowest rung is, oh my gosh, it should be obvious to everyone. You have to just declare it as an item that's gone. You get it out of your possession, you turn over a new leaf, and you say, man, it's hard to let go of that thing, but it will never be clean. It will always reattract an animal, so I have to throw it away, And no one wants to admit that that's an option, but you should really consider that should be an option. It's not anybody's first choice, but, don't forget that. Sometimes it's better to just grieve for the lost thing and get rid of it. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a couple of different categories, or 3 general categories. Cleaning with enzymes, things that you find that are quote-unquote natural remedies out on the web, and then my favorite at the end, I'm a unicorn fan. It's not the only product out there like it, but this is the one that I like. So at that point, I'm going to say, hey, I'm sorry if it's a commercial or not a commercial, but whatever. I'll talk about why I like it, just because I'm being honest. Okay, category number 1 of how to cope with these things. So enzyme cleaners, there's a lot of them out there. They're available from most major retailers like Walmart, Amazon, Chewy.com, other pet stores, stores that carry laundry products. And I won't mention any particular enzyme cleaner by name, but there's a whole host of products, and they range from rather diluted to rather concentrated, and generally speaking, the more you pay for an enzyme product, the more concentrated it is. If you get it at the dollar store, yes, it could be an enzyme product, but it's probably relatively diluted. Okay, so the purpose of the enzyme products is it's the idea that one microbiological thing is going to consume another microbiological thing. And so the enzymes, I would say in a non-scientific terms again, they basically eat the proteins. And what does this do in terms of cleaning? I would say 2 things. It breaks up the uric acid that's in the urine that's making the stain. And then also it's they say it destroys in that process, it's destroying some of the bacteria that's in the urine that's making the stain. So, do I think that those enzyme products can hurt your precious yarn? I have not had any experience of them hurting the yarn. I don't widely use it here. It's not my first choice. But essentially, I would say if you're really worried about color fastness or something, be logical in your approach. You have a skein of yarn or something, pull out a thread and drop the thread into a small, like just even a little, cup with a capful or so of the enzyme in it, and then let the strand of yarn dry. And then you've run a test. Your yarn isn't going to get worse or better by the one day you take to run the test to see whether or not the product that you have that might work on your rug or something like that is going to hurt your yarn. So that would be my logic there. It isn't the enzyme thing. It isn't my go-to thing, but I don't think it would hurt. And again, if you're trying to move up that scale from throwing it away to ultimately getting the thing back to the way it was before it was stained, it's something you can try. The next category, natural remedies. I did a little research for this. I spent over a period of a couple of days looking at things on the web, and there is a lot out there. I really can't even get into all that's out there. But I found some sort of theme things that were out there. There's a lot about essential oils. I think that essential oils, again, I don't know if you were going to use any of the natural remedies that I'm discussing. I think I would do that thing of cut a strand, create your natural remedy, and do a test run with a 6-inch strand of the yarn to see what does your concoction that you found, what does it do to the yarn. I found one that was a cup of water and vodka and lavender essential oil. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to be honest, I haven't tried that, but it sounded like those ingredients were somebody was trying to figure out how to break up those 4 problem areas of urine. The fact that it has like a minute but oily nature, the fact that it has these minerals in it, the fact that it's an acid, and the fact that it has this salty residue behind that's hard to get rid of. So somebody was trying to figure out how to do that. And I guess the alcohol was their approach. That's the punch of that approach. Other people suggested things like baking soda. Baking soda is like a sponge in terms of absorbing odor, and it may physically lift up and remove some of the minerals. I don't know how much it would get out everything that's in the urine, but here again, it didn't sound, from what I could read, and it's not my go-to thing, it didn't sound like it would damage. There's nothing in baking soda that would damage wool as long as you didn't leave it there for 20 years, that you did your baking soda bath and then you let the product dry. I would think that you would have to wash it after using baking soda, because the powder of the baking soda would get into the yarn. People used oxygen, those little oxygen crystals. The idea behind those little oxygen crystals is that when that powder is introduced into the water that you're with the dry materials that they're not dry in the water, but your dry goods, meaning the fiber, those oxygen crystals in the water, they bump into and seek out the solid, which is the yarn. They attach to it, and then they pop open as a chemical reaction about being in the water. And that oxygen, it's strong. It's like having a bunch of micro bouncers in there, but it's strong at detaching minerals. So that's not everything that's in urine, but it, again, I would take a strand and run a test run, because that oxygen is also likely to, your dyes, most acid dyes, and a lot of dyes anyway, even if they're natural dyes, they have a mordant, all of this without getting into the chemistry of dyes. That oxygen has the possibility of knocking off some of the color out of your product, so out of your yarn or your roving or fiber or hand knit good. So again, I would run a test. It's not my go-to thing, but it's not like introducing bleach, so it could be fairly safe. I'd run an experiment. So baking soda, and the last one was vinegar. I saw a lot of things about vinegar. I think that people feel safe about recommending vinegar because so much, even commercial level, even like the thing that I'm wearing or my blue jeans, so much dye work is done using acids to make the dye stick to the protein fiber of the natural fiber. And so if it's included in the process of making the yarn into the yarn, then the theory would be it would be safe to use it again. And I guess it is, in the sense of it shouldn't hurt the yarn. Could it change the color? Here again, I can't account for how long everybody's going to do this or whatever, but you could run a test. The theory behind the vinegar is that your urine is an acid and the vinegar is an acid. So by running those two parallel tracks, you're trying to dissolve the adherence of the urine to your protein fiber. You're trying to like break it up. And it should work a little. I don't know if it's the ultimate clean. I use vinegar all the time when I make my yarns, so that part is true. I do use vinegar and baking soda to get rid of odors. I even use it in, it's okay to use in fiber to get rid of odors. I have mentioned that. I will even use the lavender essential oil to, if I'm washing something, because I like the scent of lavender and I like the benefits of the scent of lavender. But I don't know, here again, if any of these natural remedies get you past that place of where before I was like saying, you might be able to put the yarn up to your face and go, okay, thank goodness, it's clean. And I don't see the stain anymore and I don't smell the stain anymore. But if you then see whether or not your cat or dog is interested in it, if they stay there and are curiously smelling something on that spot, on the affected fibers, then you haven't really prevented them from returning again or hit the, like, hey, this is finally clean. So all of that I've said thus far, I will say, everything I'm talking about I think the thing that would hurt your fiber is bleach. That's the big no-no. These things, I don't think any of them would hurt it. I would say run a test. Oh, you know what? And I would say also let your test dry, and smell the test. Smell your little test, your sample, and let it dry. That's the critical thing. It's not even just running your test and looking at the strand of yarn in the water when it's wet to see if it's better. It's letting it dry and then seeing if you can not just see an improvement, but if you can smell it on it any longer. Now, finally, I'm going to get to the part where I talk about unicorn. Jenny, you can go up to the labels and just show the labels. I'm not saying that this is a commercial for Unicorn. I am saying I'm a dye artist. I've been a dye artist for a long time. I've had animals for 24 some odd years. I've been washing fiber, and this is what I like. And if you're, coming to me asking me, what do I like? I feel really comfortable recommending this. Not only have I, anytime I order it, I call and talk with the owners and the tech people, the people who know the product from a chemical standpoint and everything. And they can answer your questions. If you end up calling them as a consumer, they're very friendly people. Not that I'm asking anybody who sees this YouTube video to call them. That might be a little much. But they have designed this gentle soap with one of the main targets of the job of the soap is urine. Because let's face it, if you shear, this soap was made for wool, for raw wool. The wool has been on an animal outside in the farm. I'm pointing that way because that's where my animals are. Jenny's like, well, we can't see them out of the window. So, anyway, my animals. There's no way that you can keep your animals in the pasture from getting a little fecal matter or urine on the wool. And yes, you're going to skirt it and get out as much gross material as you possibly can before you start working with it as an artist, but it's not 100%. That's just the first stage. And so my next stage is always wash it in Unicorn. I like so there's one with the cap off. Well, that's off for a reason because I robbed my own supply. These little bottles are for sale in my shop, but I robbed my own supply of the Power Scour. And that's the one that's really designed to be tough on urine. The others, the general product line is, if you get this version, the one that says Beyond Clean, that's their version of products that are unscented, and then on the other side I have the ones with the kind of the lavender scent in it. And the two that are milky white are the fiber rinse, which it's really lovely, especially for something that you are going to interact with repeatedly. It's a bit like fabric softener, but really, really pleasant. And then a normal wash, because not everybody is constantly fighting a urine stain. They just need to wash something. And then the Power Scour is for the problem that we've been talking about today. So I can't believe I did all of this talking, and I'm just about out of time, and I'm getting to the place where I would say my go-to solution for this problem is Unicorn, and I recommend the Power Scour version for pet urine, either cat or dog, goat urine, or sheep urine, or llama urine, or people urine. So that's where I'm ending up. My conclusion is I feel very safe recommending it and telling you guys to recommend it. If you have any questions, again, I say I'm not an expert. I'm just a person who's been doing it for a couple of decades. Please feel free to write them in the comments down below. Hey, Jenny, are there any comments?
No, just people saying hi. And
okay. So thanks for watching. I know that this was an odd topic to talk about, but really one that at some point everybody
can save your yarn.
Yeah, it can save your yarn, and at some point everybody comes across it, because we all know babies and cats and dogs. And we enjoy babies, cats, and dogs, Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week, and thanks again. Everybody stay healthy. Get your shots. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.